You are now tuned in to R&R Raw and Real with Shaz. I'm your host, Shazmin. I want to thank you for tuning in and listening in to my podcast. If you are new here, make sure you hit that follow button so that you do not miss an episode drop, which is every Wednesday. If you would like to keep updates on topics that I may discuss, head on over to Instagram to RNR with Shaz, CHAS, and hit that follow button so that you can stay updated on whatever questions I may ask and want your input on. And now that I have your attention, let's get into today's episode.
Welcome back to another episode of R&R Raw and Real with Shaz. I'm your host, and today we're diving into depression. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, depression. We just love depression, don't we? But we're going to be exploring and talking about some of those feelings that we have of like loneliness, inadequacy, failure, but most importantly, discovering the way out of depression, like some things that we should do. Like I'm definitely going to give us some tips. Obviously you should definitely see a professional too, if that's the case for you. Don't take all my words into like, it's not Bible. It's not Bible. So I'm just going to give some tips and some suggestions that I've tried, other friends of mine have tried, other people have tried that have worked, for coming out of depression and getting back into healing and working on yourself. So we all know that depression can be relentless. Like a constant storm over and over. It goes and then it comes. It goes and then it comes. It's almost like a hurricane when it happens. Like we just get a bunch of emotions that leave us feeling isolated, convincing us that we're not enough, telling us that we're a failure, and just making us feel like we ain't shit. At the end of the day, it make you feel like you ain't shit. See, that's when we start sleeping on ourselves. That's when we go back into that slumber, and then we start becoming these crazy people. Get your shit together. But depression is just relentless, man. And let me tell you something. You are not alone. And you are absolutely enough. Don't let those evil thoughts tell you who you are and what you are and like just tell you who you like. No. We're not even gonna worry about that. We're gonna kick them thoughts to the side. Matter of fact, to the abyss. Throw them in the abyss. Because depression creeps in when you feel like you're doing real good sometimes. And it's always that fear of like, okay, I might be good at this, but this person over here doing better than me. That person over there is killing it, and they just started and they booming now, and it's like you feel like, dang, I'm doing it too, but ain't nothing taking off for me. So then that doubt starts to kick in. So some of the symptoms that depression seems to show itself, okay? Because depression, you know what? We're going to call this little gremlin, okay? It's a gremlin. Depression is like a little gremlin. My therapist used to say this too. He used to call like certain issues like gremlins. So depression is like this little gremlin that just sits right here, like right here on your shoulder, right? And they just sit right there. And it shows up though, completely different for everybody. Depression can show up when you start to lack in your daily life, in a sense where like you're not really taking it serious. Okay, prime example, a lot of depression shows up in somebody. And like, you know, when a person is going through something in depression by their house, it's junky, you know, it's junky, dishes piled or whatever the case may be. Or it may not be the whole house. It may be just one room. And it's probably more than likely their room. And their room is just chaotic mess because that's literally how their mind is right now. And they don't want to leave their room. They just want to stay in their room for those who don't have jobs, you know. That's how it shows up, right? But then you have depression that still shows up for people and they're functional. They're able to do their day to day and they're able to deal with, you know, regular things and show up for work and, you know, still be good at work or still be good as, you know, whatever, if they're a parent, like whatever that may be, but they're still functional. But deep down inside, like on the inside, they're screaming and losing it because they really want to cry. They really want to scream. They really want to just lash out. It's so much, or they really just want to go into hiding, but can't, because if they don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And if nobody does it, it doesn't get done. So depression shows up like that. Or you start feeling sad and hopeless and powerless. You change in your social behavior, like you stop going out, you start to withdraw from people, completely freaking isolate. You ever dealt with somebody who, when they going through something or when they're depressed, they completely just cut everybody off? Just cut everybody off, just disappear. They depressed. Just give them their space, respect their space, and just understand that it's not you, okay? I had to say that because I'm speaking to myself, but I was speaking to you too. And then another, like, I guess, symptom or look at depression is you have trouble concentrating and paying attention, difficulty, like, for some people who are younger, you know, some of my younger viewers who may be in college or whatever, you have difficulty, like, comprehending what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you always forgetful. You seem to forget, like, what you're supposed to be doing in a sense. It's like you walk into some place and you be like, why am I even here? It's because your mind was in a whole nother place and now you don't even remember. And now you're like, man, why am I here? Now you got to sit and try to figure it out, try to go through the compartments in your mind behind the depression that's shoving itself in your face and remember what you're supposed to be doing. So, like, that's how depression just shows up. It's not always pretty. It's ugly. It's really ugly. I don't like talking about depression so much because I experience it, but I know there's other people who experience it too. And it's like, I get so sick and tired of depression when depression comes. So I be doing so good. I be in a good space in my head. I be in a good space in my life. Things are going cool. And it just finds a way to creep back on in. And I feel like this last time, it didn't creep in. It just came in like a rushing wave. And I'm like, dang, bro, like, I was just doing so good. Can I get a break? Man, it just feels like I'm drowning. It's like I thought I was over these feelings. I thought I was over this stuff. Why is it still coming back? I thought I healed this part. And then, like, when it comes back, it's something completely different. It's the same thing, but it's worded different. It's a whole different story because now I'm in a new space in my life. And it's like you feel so depressed, but then there's so many people around you too that love and care about you. And at this point, you're not even thinking about them. You feel so lonely when you're surrounded by love. That is a crazy feeling to me. Like, I'm surrounded by people who care about me, people who love me, people who think I'm awesome, people who motivate me, people who hold me accountable, people who push me. I have some of the most amazing people around me. And that I met all these people through networking, blah, blah, blah. Or for somebody else, it could be, I have these people around me who I got to pick and pull in my life. And they love me, they care about me, but I still feel lonely. I still feel lonely in all of this. Constantly feeling like I wasn't enough. No matter what I achieved. It's like, oh, yeah, I just passed this little test or whatever that I took for my class, and I passed it and got my certificate. And like I tell my sister or something. My sister is about to go hoorah for me and be like, bro, why aren't you celebrating yourself? Because I feel like I just didn't do enough. I feel like I could have got a better grade. And my sister would be like, bruh, are you serious? Are you really serious right now? Dude, you just accomplished something. You shouldn't even feel like that. But when I'm depressed, that's how I feel. And I'm pretty sure that's how you feel. Like, that's how you feel. It was as if, like, I wore a mask of success while feeling like an utter failure on the inside. But I'm not defined by my depression. I'm not defined by what it makes me feel like. Like, I know who I am. You know who you are. You know who you're made by, who you're created by. And you're worthy of everything that you thought you deserved. You're worthy of it. And depression will make you feel like you're not. Depression will make you feel like, oh, you just got lucky this time. It's not going to always happen. Bruh, depression. Yeah, I said it. Fuck depression, okay? I had to say it real low, though. Kids be watching like that. But whatever. Shoot. So now that we didn't discuss depression in a sense, now that we just, we talked about it, what it looks like, that little gremlin, that just keeps popping in and out of our lives. We need to find ways to not make depression last so long, because it's the length of time of depression that is probably the worst thing about it. Because sometimes you never know how long it's going to last. Depression could last 6 months. Depression could last a year. It can have you stuck for a week. So we have to come up with ways to help us manage and pull ourselves out of it quickly. See the signs when we see ourselves starting to slip. Catch those signs and be like, okay, all right, hold on. Hold on now. Bag it up. You got a wristband? You got a wristband? Back it up. Back it up. We need to see these signs. But in order to do that, we have to, because you won't necessarily learn how to read the signs until you start paying attention. When you become self-aware, all those things that I've been talking about before, becoming self-aware of what's going on around you, what's being, how you're being dealt with, all the different type of stuff. You have to be aware when you're in depression and you sitting there and you're like, how am I going to get out of this? When you start to not feel the pity for yourself, you stop throwing yourself a pity party and you're like, okay, I got to come up out of this. I'm better at this. When you start to see your worth a little bit. And a lot of the times when you're in depression, it's hard to see the light. It's hard to see the joy. It's hard to see your worth. And the only way that you start to do that is, honestly, I don't know what a lot of people do, but when I'm depressed, the only thing that gets me out of it is 1, journaling. 2, old pictures of myself. I look at old pictures of myself in that time space. Music plays a huge part in depression. What you listen to while you're going through depression will determine how long your depression is going to last. What you listen to, if you listen to music, what you listen to while you're in depression will determine how long your depression is going to last. Because we are influenced by music heavily. We're not about to act like we're not influenced, because we completely are. But the type of music you listen to in that space can really change the trajectory of your depression and how you're going to pull yourself up out of it. For me, I listen to music, I journal, I look at old pictures of myself when I was happy. And I legit cry out to God, for real. I really do. Like real hard, real bad, like seriously, like boo-hooing just to God, asking him to help me come up out of this. Constantly praying, because if you're constantly praying, we're always taught, if you haven't, but a lot of us are taught, pray without ceasing. And that doesn't mean like on your hands and knees constantly praying like, oh, I'm going to just stay on my hands and knees. No, you can have prayer with God sitting at work. You can have prayer with God driving home from work, driving to work, on your way to the gym, in the gym. You can pray anytime. You don't have to have your eyes closed. It's what's in your heart. Have you tuned everything out? Obviously, you're still functional, but in your heart, you're talking to God. He hears you through your heart. So in depression, I pray. And I pray regular prayers, like not them church lady prayers, not that. I pray to God like he my best friend. I talk to him like he is my best friend, legit. And I ask him to, like, look, work with me. Just work with me. Give me a minute. I know I said I was going to do this. And I know I said I was going to trust you. I know I said I was going to have faith and leave all of this stuff to you. I wouldn't be falling into the depression as easy as I've been falling into it if I just leaned on you a little bit more. And see, now I'm telling y'all some of my prayers to God, but maybe you need to hear this, because maybe this is what you need to be saying. Because so many people want to say, oh, I don't know how to pray. I don't know how to talk to God. Yes, you do. You know how you pick up the phone and you call your friend? Yeah, let me tell you about da-da-da. It's the same exact way. It's literally the same exact way. Obviously, we just don't see him. But if you look in the mirror while you talking to God, you really talking to him for real. It's really like talking to yourself. We do that all the time. You talk to yourself all the time. Don't even pretend like you don't. Don't do that. Don't even do that, because you definitely do. I know you do, especially in your car. So, yep, we talk to ourselves. It's the same way. We talk to God the same way. Hey, look, bro, listen, let me tell you, God, like, why do people at work testing me? Like, talk to him like that. Do you know how authentic that is? Like, you're not trying too hard. Heavenly Father, Lord God, we thank you. You ain't even got to do all that. You don't even have to do all that. You can hit them with what's the one prayer, the one girl who sang that song is really, I think it's really a prayer. But the Yet song.
God,
It's my hit.
don't give up on me yet. I know I'm not your best bet, but I'm trying, so don't give up on me yet. And God, don't leave me here alone. I know I need to grow still, and I'm trying, but don't leave me here alone. I know I've come so far, but got so far to go. And with these brand new scars and this broken heart, it's hard to really know if there's a reason, and if I'll ever see it. But I wanna believe it, so don't give
This is not a paid promotion. This is just when you're in a dark space and you're trying to come out of it because you know you got stuff to do. There's a life that you want for yourself. You need songs like that. That's a prayer. And in the midst of doing all of that, when you crying out to God, you journaling, or however you may be a person that needs to do yoga while you're depressed, or you may be the person that can only listen to sermons or listen to, podcasts that are uplifting or something. Find something that brings you back to reality, that you are worthy, you are loved, you are powerful, you are amazing, you are strong, you are aspiring, you are charismatic, you're outgoing, you're beautiful, you're handsome, you're incredible, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. If that's what you need around you at that time, these are the things that you should try to do for yourself. Pray. Ask God to intercede in all of this depression, pull you up out of it, remind you who you are. Meditate in your heart. I ain't gonna say it's my favorite, but this is a really, really amazing verse. And every time I hear it, it just sticks out to me. The ending part sticks out to me, or it's like the middle. It's Psalms 19:14. It says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thine sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer." The part that sticks out the most to me in this verse is, may the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. And whatever you meditate in your heart, that really, really gets to God for real, for real. The things that you really want, the purest things, the truest things, the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you peace. When you start to dwell in those spaces in your heart and in your mind, and that's what you meditate on, that's the life that you want to be, like those are the characteristics that you want to have, and you meditate on that, God accepts that. Those good things that we sit on, he accepts that, bro. But every time I hear that verse, that part right there, it just be like, wow. Because it takes a lot for a person to meditate. It takes a lot for you to meditate and ponder on something, but you can do it. Anybody can do it. Really, anybody can do it, but you can do it, and you should. So we are coming to the end of this episode, and I'm gonna end it with a quote, like I always do, that I find on the internet, Beyonce's internet. All right, so this quote is, the hardest thing about depression is that it is addictive. It begins to feel uncomfortable not to be depressed. You feel guilty for feeling happy. By Pete Wentz. I'm going to give y'all my little intake on this quote here. The reason why I chose it to keep it at the end necessarily is because depression is addictive. Being depressed it's attention seeking at some point for some people. It's like you show the world that you're depressed and you get attention, what you wanted. But for this quote, it's depression is addictive. But the more you spend on healing and working on yourself, the more you spend time on loving yourself, the further out that depression time comes. Because you start to love yourself more. You start to not feel guilty for being happy. You start to embrace the good things that come to you. Like, not everything has to be bad. Not everything has to be wrong. When you start to feel those things because you love yourself and you don't, hold who you are to yourself, you're really, shine. You don't dim your light for nobody. You're walking in your purpose. When you're doing all those things, depression can't really get you because you don't feel that guilt, those haunting feelings. You starting to kill those haunting feelings. So You know, don't let depression stay addictive to you. Like, you need to stop being addicted to it. Let it go. And start embracing happiness. Start embracing love. Start embracing yourself. Start embracing life around you. That is amazing. So that's all I have for you today on this episode of Depression. Don't worry, we'll probably circle back with a discussion about that little gremlin. But as of right now, I bid you good day. And you guys, thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for leaving me comments, sending me DMs. I really appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. Thank you so much. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.
I want to thank you again for tuning in to my podcast, R&R, Raw and Real with Shaz. Make sure you share this podcast with all of your friends, and don't forget to leave me a review. It's greatly appreciated. See you in the next episode.